Wow. Wow. Sporting. Ruben Amorim. What a way to announce yourself to world football. What a way to announce yourself to these Manchester United fans, because Ruben Amorim, what we seen from Sporting last night was something special. That was an incredible performance by Sporting. And talk about passing your interview, your audition, talking about a dress rehearsal for what's to come. That was simply phenomenal. Now, I tweeted out earlier on in the day, I thought Sporting would win, but it was the manner in which they won was absolutely sensational. Now, if you look at both teams on paper, even a weakened Manchester City side, you would think they might have too much for Sporting. And it did start that way. I thought the first half an hour, Manchester City were on top. They opened the scoring in the first 5 minutes. And I thought Sporting came out the blocks quite cagey. They showed Manchester City too much respect. I don't know what Ruben Amorim said to them at half-time, but they came out in that second half like a different animal. The way they pressed City in numbers, the way they opened up City in possession, the way they baited City in possession and then exploited their vulnerabilities was absolutely sensational. And wow, Ruben Amorim, the way you've announced yourself to Manchester United like that is simply sensational. And if any Manchester United fan is not getting excited by that performance, football's not for you. We all live in hope as a football fan. That's the drug that we crave. If you're hopeful, I mean, Manchester United fans have to be hopeful for the future, because if you're not hopeful with a coach like this, football is not for you. Look, say what you want. Manchester City are not the Manchester City we've seen. I think this is the worst Manchester City, the most depleted Manchester City we've seen in a long, long time. But give them more respect, because I thought the first half was their best performance that we've probably seen all season. But Manchester City are so vulnerable in transitions. We've spoke about the importance of Rodri. And I think this is why I think games like this highlight the importance of Rodri and the impact he has on Manchester City. And call it what it is, whether you think it was a robbery or not, this is why he was up there for the Ballon d'Or, because he is one of the most important, impactful players to any team across the world. You take him out of that Manchester City and they are so vulnerable in transition. But just to get back to the first half in Manchester City's opening half an hour, I thought they pressed Sporting incredibly well. Sporting are so good at playing out from the back, building out from the back, creating those triangles to bypass the press. But Manchester City's press and hunger in numbers was sensational, and it prevented Sporting playing their natural game. So Sporting were forced to go long, forced to go direct. And I thought Manchester City had some success in possession as well when they were building out from the back. They baited Sporting's press and they easily took it around their press. So I thought it started very brightly for Manchester City. Who knows, on another day, Manchester City go 2-0 up, because they had the chances. But to give Sporting their credit, they had their chances as well. We're seeing Victor Gyökeres miss probably his easiest chance, where he tried to chip it and it went straight into the keeper. One thing I will say about Victor Gyökeres is his direct running style is unstoppable. We've seen this die out the game where forwards running behind with pace, power, and the very direct and straight line running. And I love that in a centre forward. We've seen that from Haaland when he was at Borussia Dortmund, when the game was more expansive. We don't see it as much at Manchester City because 9 times out of 10 camped in the opposition's half. But when you give Victor Gyökeres space and room to move into, he is unstoppable, because he's big, he's powerful, he's got speed. And when defenders running side by side with him, it's incredibly difficult to stop his momentum. The athleticism, the hunger, the direct nature, that's a beautiful aspect of his game. Look, we look at his numbers all the time. Not many of people watch Sporting all the time, so they're looking at the numbers and they're thinking, is he that good? Is he legit? We're seeing reportedly that he's available for 100 million. That's a lot of money to fork out on a 26-year-old, but boy, this lad is legit. This lad is a problem. He reminds us of an old-fashioned striker, somebody that wants to bully the centre-back, somebody that doesn't mind the physicality of the game. And this is one of my favourite types of strikers, so I would love nothing more than Victor Gyökeres to come to the Premier League. When you think about it, there's a real shortage of elite number 9s in the world. There's Erling Haaland, that I don't think will leave Manchester City anytime soon. If he does, there's only 1 or 2 clubs that he can go to. Lewandowski, Harry Kane, but they're not getting any younger. Alexander Isak's one to mention, but I think there's something in the water of Scandinavian centre forwards when you think of Erling Haaland, when you think of Victor Gyökeres, when you think of Alexander Isak, when you think of Bruno Larsen at Wolves. Even the players coming up, there's Conrad Harder at Sporting at the minute that looks like he's going to be the next piece if Victor Gyökeres moves on. There's Chidozie Obi-Martins in Manchester United. There's something in the water of those Scandinavian strikers that are quite old-fashioned, and I love it. But getting back to the game, I thought Sporting's opening goal was a thing of beauty. The pass from Giovanni Quindinda was sensational. And what he's doing as a 17-year-old is nothing short of phenomenal. But I mentioned earlier that this Sporting team is extremely well drilled and it's built on partnerships. If you look at the run of one of their number 10s just to move and open up the 2 centre-backs for Victor Gyökeres to do that straight line run, it was like something off the training pitch. Number 10 made, and I think it was Trincao, made a run, knowingly, openly, that he wasn't going to get possession. And this run was just simply to move Manchester City's centre-back out of the position, therefore for Quinda to play the ball. And what a ball. It was perfectly weighted for Victor Gyökeres to run onto. And then he just had the strength, the power to outmuscle the other defender. And then the conventional finish. I've seen a lot of people talking about his finish, saying it was mishit. No, it wasn't. That finish was intentional. He knew exactly what he was doing when he was striking that ball. He slightly mishit the ball, but it was on purpose. And that's how that gave him the best opportunity of scoring. This Sporting team really impressed me. Just to touch upon their 2 number 10s and their striker, the combinations, the chemistry, the interchanging between all 3 of them caused Manchester City so many problems. The movement, the acknowledging each other's movements was simply sensational. Wow. Perfect attacking display. I think this sort of chemistry, this sort of partnerships is exactly what Ruben Amorim's going to bring to Manchester United. When you're playing against a system, not only a system, but a profile of players that fit that system, it's incredibly difficult to overcome. It's one of the most difficult things in football. And this is why we're seeing Manchester City win so many games. I know they're not at the moment, but when they've got all the players fit and when they're fluid, it's so difficult to overcome that system. And this is something, a stick you can beat Erik ten Hag with, because when Manchester United were pressing on Erik ten Hag, or when they were trying to move the ball, it was all off the cuff. It was all with individual aspects of the game. But what Ruben Amorim will bring different to Manchester United is those partnerships. The fluidity, the transition tonight from Sporting was insane. And one thing I love, and I didn't really notice until I really studied their tactics, is how quick they transition from an attacking formation to a defensive formation, from going to 3 at the back, to creating a box shape in the middle, to going back to a 5 at the back. It's extremely fluid, but so quick and effective. It's so difficult for the opposition to break down. And you can tell each and every single Sporting player's bought in Amorim's system. Them 2 wing backs or wide forwards, whatever you want to call them, work their socks off in transition, both on the offensive transition, the defensive transition. They know exactly where to be, when to be at every single point in that game. And that's exactly what Manchester United are lacking. It's not going to happen overnight. He's not going to magically just turn Manchester United into a beast. But boy, if you give this coach time, he's going to not only improve players, but improve the overall system and structure. Now, it's not all perfect. I've bigged up Sporting, I've bigged up Ruben Amorim. It's not all perfect. Playing with 3 at the back, you need your 2 wide centre-backs to be unbelievable in wide channels. To defend in one-on-one channels, unbelievable. Now they've got that at the moment, but I don't think Manchester United have got those profiles. And this is why I think it's going to take a couple of transfer windows to really see the fruits of Ruben Amorim's system. Because I think there's only one player, one defender in Manchester United's team at the moment that can defend consistently in wide channels, and that's Lenny Yoro, and he's injured. I don't think Lisandro Martinez does it. I like Lisandro Martinez, but I don't think he has the ability to defend in wide channels. Harry Maguire doesn't. Matthias de Ligt doesn't. Lindelof doesn't. I don't think they've got the profiles that can defend in those wide channels. And this is why I put out a video saying that Manchester United need to make certain signings. And I highlighted a few signings that they could bring in to really fit Amorim's system. I highlighted this in my tactical view of Amorim's system, and you can go and check out the video if you want. But we've seen it last night in the first half in particular, where Manchester City looked to exploit that space in the wider channels. Amorim's system is incredibly expansive, so you need bodies that are more than comfortable to defend in one-on-one situations in wide areas. The way Amorim and Sporting in that second half were on the front foot, were determined, broke down Manchester City, was phenomenal. I mean, simply phenomenal. I haven't seen a team do that consistently for 45 minutes to Manchester City in a long, long time. Manchester City just couldn't cope with Ruben Amorim's system in transitions. As a manager, you've got to evolve your tactics as football evolves. And what I've seen from Sporting today was perfect for modern day football. It was aggressive. It was fast play. It was direct when he wanted to be. It was players interchanging. It was a system to break down the opposition. He got it perfect in that second half. And I grew up when Manchester United were in their peak, were in their pomp. They were winning titles. They were winning Champions League. And this sort of football was exactly what we're seeing at Old Trafford. Fast in transitions, being aggressive on the front foot, aggressive when you're defending, aggressive when you're attacking. And I think this is suitable for Manchester United, but temper your expectations because, look, not every game's going to be perfect. It's not going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to have to be worked on. Now, the sporting directors need to be on the same wavelength as Amorim for this sort of football to work and really flourish. So although I've bigged up Ruben Amorim as much as I can in this video, there's going to be teething problems. There's going to be problems because Manchester United have got some players that can fit this system, but they've also got players that just completely don't fit the system. So until that transition of player happens, we're not going to see the full fruits of Ruben Amorim's system. Last night was something spectacular. What a way to announce himself to Manchester United, but also what a way to depart from sport. He gave those fans a night that they'll never forget. And that's the beauty of football. But once again, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another video. And thank you very much for your time. Until next time, take care.